There are so many twists and turns
Yeah.
and crazy shit going on behind the scenes of UFC 300. And everything that everybody thinks about UFC 300 right now literally could all change tomorrow. So we have one more slot to fill, mid-level, and then we have the main event. I know what I'm trying to do. But what I'm trying to do and what are going to happen there could end up being two completely different things. There could actually be a documentary right now being shot of behind the scenes to build UFC 300. It's fucking crazy.
So we got some new information on not only the main event of UFC 300, but also just the card in general. We know now that Dana has a main event he's targeting, that he's trying to put together, and we have some more insight into that, and we'll talk about the main event in a minute, but first I want to talk about something else he said. Dana said that there are 2 spots currently left on this card to fill. We do know that there have already been 11 announced fights so far, and typically pay-per-views have 13 to 14 fights on them, but Dana has said that there are 2 spots left on this card to fill.
So we have one more slot to fill, mid-level, and then we have the main event.
There's a mid-level slot and obviously the main event. Now, we don't know where this mid-level slot is. You would think it would be the prelims because it's between the early prelims and the main card. But I did some digging, and if you go to ESPN, who by the way owns the UFC, you can see that the main event is to be announced versus to be announced. But if you look at the main card, there are only 4 fight slots. Obviously, the main event, which hasn't been announced yet, and then the 3 fights already announced. Which is interesting because typically main cards are at least 5 fights, sometimes even 6 fights. And if you look in the prelims and early prelims, there's already 4 fights announced for each. Now, there could only be 4 fights on the main card because at least 3 of those fights are going to be 5 rounders, and they don't want the main card to go for too long adding another fight. But if you look at UFC 259, they had 3 5-round fights on that main card and still had 5 total fights. But who knows, maybe that isn't the official order of the card. Maybe Alexander Rakic versus Yuri Prohaska is on the main card, maybe Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling's on the main card. But if I had to guess, I would say that that mid-tier fight is going to be on the main card, most likely the main card opener, because I don't see Dana saying that they have a mid-tier fight left and it be the co-main. So maybe we could see that Izzy versus Khamzat fight open the card. That would be crazy. But it has just been reported by Ariel Helwani that Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards for the welterweight championship is currently in the works. He said, I think the top choice is Leon versus Khamzat, but that could all fizzle out. We'll see in the next few days. So that's something to watch out for. We do know what happened with UFC 200, where Ariel Helwani reported that Brock Lesnar was going to return well before they announced it, and it got him pretty much completely banned from the UFC, so who knows, he could be right on this one as well. Alright, so now let's talk about the main event. We got some new information. So Jon Jones has come out and said in an interview that he was offered the main event slot, but turned it down because he didn't think he'd be ready on time. I mean, he did just get injured not too long ago, and there was that video that just came out not too long ago of him just absolutely plastered at a comedy club.
I'm more like the type to put my finger in your butthole.
Wait, what? Whoa, hold on.
I'll put my finger in your butthole.
We just missed some very important. You're talking about finger in your balls?
Finger in the butthole.
Oh, finger in the
A whole
butthole.
black finger in the butthole.
Is that how they do it in Rochester?
That's how we get down. That's the way we say I love you.
If he had a fight coming up, I don't think he'd be getting drunk like this at a comedy club, but it is Jon Jones. Dana has really been hyping this fight up, saying that if he pulls this off somehow, there's going to need to be a documentary filmed on it.
There could actually be a documentary right now being shot of behind the scenes to build UFC 300. It's fucking crazy.
He said that he knows what he wants the main event to be, but what he wants the main event to be and what will actually happen are 2 completely different things.
I know what I'm trying to do. But what I'm trying to do and what are going to happen there could end up being 2 completely different things.
And we do know that there is nothing officially signed as of right now. Dana confirmed this in a press conference the other day where he said, who knows who's going to be the UFC 300 headliner. It's been interesting. I can tell you that I'd announce it now if we had it. We've gone through a lot of crazy shit. We're trying to put this fight together. So we know there is officially a fight that he wants to put together, but we don't know who it is yet. We know it's probably not going to be Jon Jones. There is Tom Aspinall, maybe him versus Cyril Gane, or Alex Pereira is a strong possibility. Alex is also there, but a lot of people have said that the UFC is going to wait for him to headline the Brazil card, which takes place the month after 300. I honestly have no idea who the main event's going to be. If I had to make a boring prediction, I would say it'll be Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis. But if I had to throw a shot in the dark, if I had to throw a dart at a dartboard blindfolded, what's the saying? If I had to take a full court shot, but instead of me being Steph Curry, I'm Ben Simmons, is, I would say the UFC 300 main event is going to be Khabib versus someone. I know it's right after Ramadan. I know that he promised his mother he would never fight again, which is why the chances of me being correct are extremely low. And I have no idea who it would be against, but he has been training with Javier Mendez, and it has been reported that Khabib typically only trains with him when he has a fight coming up. If it's against Leon Edwards, who I've seen thrown around a lot, he'd be going for double champ status. He'd be going up to a new division he's never fought at before, returning after 3 years. He's currently 29-0. He'd be going for that 30-0 status, sort of how Floyd Mayweather came out of retirement and fought Conor McGregor for the 50-0 status. There is an interesting storyline there, so if I had to make a fun prediction, I would say Khabib comes back versus Leon Edwards. But if I was going to be more realistic, I would just say it'll be Dricus versus Izzy for the middleweight title. There is a UFC 300 Q&A scheduled for this Friday at, I believe, 7 p.m. And it seems like they're going to announce the main event before then, or at least at that press conference. So we should know who the main event is by the end of the week. But anyways, as the end of the video, if you are new here and you did enjoy, please be sure to subscribe, like the video, leave your prediction for what this main event will be in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.